ladies. This is my adoption update. Um, we decided we had been looking into fostering and adopting for a little while now, and the reason being that I would love to carry my own children, and I would love to do that, but it may not ever be a possibility. There's some things we haven't tried yet that we're trying to do right now in order to help our journey out and for me to get healthy, things like that. And then we'll try the cerclage and try it at some point. I would like to be able to carry a child and give birth to a child. That's really important to me, but um, I decided that we would look into the fostering and adopting, and it was pretty it was pretty unanimous that after Aaron and I looked at it, and um, that the foster care system, while is amazing, we decided not to because we really can't deal with a child coming in our home and us falling in love with it and having to say goodbye. We've had to say too many goodbyes, and we don't want to say any more, hopefully. So we decided that adoption is probably the best way. Come on. Adoption is probably the best way to go. So um, I did a lot of research on domestic adoption, international adoption, different countries, like all things, different agencies, and we decided to go international for certain reasons. I know too many friends, and the statistics are there on the National Adoption webpage that you go to, that domestic adoptions in the United States have the highest turnaround rate in the sense of parents changing their mind, parents stealing. They know that they have no plans to give up their child for adoption, but they take the money and they take the medical help, and so many just take backs. And we don't want that either. And there's no way to ever ensure that from not happening, but the United States is big on that. And we tend to not be a big country on keeping our word either. Whereas many other countries, such as Japan and China, uh, they don't allow moms to just run around and change their minds. That's not how it works. Um, so we decided that we would do international, and we chose Japan. We chose Japan because my husband loves the culture. He can speak it and write it pretty well. He's still learning, but he goes to classes in the evenings to learn more. And he comes home and teaches me some, and I really didn't care where, and neither did he. But if he loves the culture and we love the food, and he knows how to speak it and write it, why not? So, of course, we chose one of the harder countries to adopt out of. Of course, we didn't know that at the time. But China and Africa are the easier ones. It's not easy by any means, but they have the most adoptions out of them because China is pretty much throwing away their children. They have the population problem, and so their orphanages and everything are just brimming full. They also don't want girls in China, so they're like, it's really sad. So there were thousands and thousands and thousands of adoptions done out of China last year. Same with Africa. But Japan, last year there were 22. That's how few. And they believe it's because Japan has this strong family culture. And so it's very rare that you find a woman in Japan that is getting rid of a child. And so yeah, so I'm like, way to go, honey, pick a country. So I pretty much spent like 3 weeks straight looking for agencies a couple months ago, and it was really hard because every agency I found, it was China, 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 Africa, 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 and there's even an India focus too. There's lots of adoptions done out of India too, and so um, there's also lots of surrogacy done out of India too. It's crazy. So I'm like, this is not what we want. We really feel the calling and we really feel the desire. You know, Japan's calling us, and we're just not going to give in. You know, there's a part of me that looked at Aaron that was like, China, come on. China is the closest thing we can get to Japan. Like, just deal with it. But actually, I just feel like it was God all the way. I ran into an agency that is out of Tacoma, Washington, which is where I'm from. And it's really near my family, and they're a faith-based, which was important for us. They're a faith-based adoption agency, and they do not deal with the Japanese government, which is so awesome because half the time you're bringing home a 2 and 3 year old child, or you're bringing home like a, you know, almost 1 year old child, because you're having to sit there and you have to go through the government, and you have to get approval to take them and all this stuff, and it's really difficult. So I was like, well, we want a baby. We don't want to be selfish here, but we haven't had those baby experiences. And I was so nervous about it. This agency is private, so we don't have to go through the Japanese government. Um, they actually have a hospital that they work with, and they have their own living quarters for the moms and the adoptive parents. And how it works is you get matched up with a mom early on in pregnancy. There are crisis centers, so the moms can come in and say, I don't want my baby. They sign a whole bunch of medical releases. I'm not sure if they actually sign over the baby at the time, but the Japanese government does not allow her to go back on not adopting the baby. So they actually set us up with her early on in pregnancy. We follow her through her pregnancy. That's why there's no sex preference. So we don't get to say whether we want a boy or girl, because we'll be hooked up with her before we even know. And they pay for her medical bills. They're a part of her pregnancy the whole time. So we're not getting a child that we don't know was abused, that we don't know if there were not drugs in its system. We know, and we get a folder, and she also gets a folder. And what's neat about it is every pregnant woman that comes in, she actually gets to pick out of I think they have like 5 or 10 applicants that are available for adoption. So she actually gets to pick out of the parents. So she gets to pick us. And once it's set up, we get to find out if it's a boy or girl, you know, at the time. They send us the ultrasound pictures. And we actually fly over to Japan, and we spend 2 to 3 weeks in their adoptive parents' living quarters. And we get to take home a 5 to 10 week old baby. I mean, brand new baby. And the paperwork and everything's taken care of. Now, unlike most places where there's this 5 year wait list, it's crazy. What's nice is that it's quick. Once our application is accepted, which should be the end of this year sometime, we should have a baby within a year of that time, year to 2 years. So really the whole process max would take 2 or 3 years, and that is great for us. The only downside is it's more expensive because they care for the pregnant mom all the way through her pregnancy, and they pay the hospital on the medical bills. And they also have their living quarters where we would be staying, and we would be fed for 2 to 3 weeks. It's approximately 10 to 15 grand more than a regular adoption would be because of all of that. But that makes sense. The nice thing is we don't have to worry about transportation. We don't have to worry about where we would have to stay. We don't have to worry about that. The flight's included in the price. So pretty much what we do is we get the financing, and once we get the financing for it, they take care of it. And that really excites me, because even if it was only a $15,000 or $20,000 adoption, we would still have to come up with the flights. We'd have to come up with where we're going to stay and all of that stuff. So I'm really excited about this. It's a big step. We're pretty much financing half a house, pretty much. Well, not half a house, but we're financing $40,000, and it's a huge deal. But we truly believe that this is the agency that we were led to. I don't believe it was coincidence that they only do newborn babies, and I just have a really good feeling about this. So I email them every month or so, and they update me and let me know when the applications for the next cycle will be happening, and they think it's later this year, and we would be in line for that. The great thing is they only accept applications, only a few applications at a time, and then they give all of them children, and then they accept a new set of applications, give all of them children, and so forth. So they don't have 5,000 applications, and there's this 5 to 8 year waiting list. And so that part is nice. So we technically have to wait longer to apply, but once we apply, the ball starts rolling. I am nervous that we may not be able to finance that much. We were able to finance, 10, 15 grand for a car, but, those are huge. That's a much bigger deal. But I believe in prayer and with some help and all of that stuff that it will be okay. And our insurance, praise the Lord, reimburses us a nice chunk, but it's after the fact. So, but that is kind of the update. I'm just excited. We already have their names picked out, a boy and a girl name, and we're excited that there's a 2 to 3 week trip to Japan that we get to experience and we get to enjoy, and I just hope that it's next year. It would be really nice to have a baby in 2014. Now, for our own personal journey, I cannot try for a baby until, I would say, for approximately a year from now, just with the weight loss and my plans. So for us, we will more than likely, depending on if our application is accepted and the process is already starting, by January of next year, I won't try for a baby until after our adoption goes through, till we have a baby home and she's settled. Now, if our adoption is going to be pushed out until, a year or two from there, we might consider trying again before then. But we will see. So that is the update. If you guys have any questions or want me to do a video on certain topics or whatever, feel free. But I hope you guys have a great day.